Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick prediction here for fight night tomorrow. Claudia Gadelha versus Xiaonan. As y'all know, I feel like this is a must-win for Claudia. You know, I've been saying this in my past few videos. I still feel like Claudia hasn't really shown, the strawweight division a different look. I mean, she's been skating by with these close, controversial decisions. But other than that, I still feel like, she hasn't really leveled up or stepped up to another level to make us say, okay, she's going to be back in there in the top 5. We still need to see something from Claudia like that. That's why I say this is a must win, where she needs to go into this fight and dominate. At the same time, show us something different. Show us something that says, okay, she's going to be a threat for the top 5. She could go back up there, upset Joanna if she got to fight her in the third fight. Go back up there and say, okay, if Rose wants it, any of these fighters want it, we have to start, we got to start holding her accountable for these performances. I feel like a lot of people see her go in there and they say, oh, it's Angela Hill, so okay, she won. Oh, it's Claudia, okay, so she won. Just because they don't like Carla or Angela, they won't give these fighters full credit, and they just kind of overlook these fights and don't really judge or criticize or grade her performances. But you got to, you got to grade Claudia's performances to see where she really stands amongst the top 5 or top 10, because right now, somebody like Xiaonan, I know people look at her resume and say she's not ready. I mean, come on, she's 12-1, but okay, she may have not faced the same caliber of fighters, but that has to stand for something. All of her wins in the UFC were dominant against, the opponents that she's supposed to be beating. Which she may have not gotten the same chances as Claudia, but her momentum is still high, in my opinion. I feel like her momentum is still better in her mind frame to say, okay, I can't lose yet. I'm not in that position to lose. I can still go in there and perform on any level against any opponent. It doesn't matter who it is. She's still on that level where she can ride high and still find a way to win, especially if you're dealing with somebody like Claudia, who hasn't looked good in her past, say, 5 fights. So even though Claudia has the better resume, you got to look at what she did against those opponents on her resume. She still came up short against Nina Azarov. She still didn't look good against Angela Hill and Claudia. She got gift decisions against those fighters. So even though she faced the best, she still lost to the best. You got to remember that. Joanna twice, Jessica Andrade. So that shows you her IQ. Xiaonan, on the other hand, she beat fighters like Kayla Karan like she was supposed to. She dominated in, I'd say, an out-of-prime Karolina Kowalkiewicz, but she beat Angela Hill a lot more convincing, in my opinion, So she did what she was supposed to do against those opponents. So now she's going to go in here against an opponent like Claudia, who's been kind of showing us her IQ against the higher level opponents. So if you really study it and look at it, they are kind of meeting in the middle. If anything, Xiaonan, like I said, has the better momentum. But as far as the skill-wise, we're going to see who's really going to utilize their skill when they get in here. And I gave you my prediction in a minute. I was just about to give it to you, but real quick, man. So first up for Claudia, for her keys to victory, I have to say, take it to the ground early. You got to go in there with the mind frame to think of banging at least 2 rounds. Especially if you're a fighter with stamina issues, cardio issues. If you gas in the latter half of the fight, you got to go in there with that mind frame to say, let me go ahead and get 2 solid rounds, 2 dominant rounds. And I feel like that's Claudia's style. If you go back and look at her fights, she's kind of like that front runner, where she goes in there, gives it her all, blows a load in like the first 2 or 3 rounds. And, that keeps her up on the scorecards with some judges, which, got her like a split decision loss to fighters like, Joanna in the past, or controversial losses to wins over like Angela and Carla. So if she goes in there with the first round, the second round, giving it her all, closing that distance, taking it to the ground, even if it is ugly and boring, that's the best way for her to win this fight. Take it to the ground early, cut the octagon off, get Xiaonan to the floor to the mat, because Jan still hasn't faced a fighter with this level of BJJ skills and somebody with this type of grappling skills yet. So her best bet is to close that distance, get the takedowns, shoot in the second round, get it down, and just dominate. Clinch fight. I still feel like Claudia is the physically stronger fighter. She's big. She's the physically bigger fighter as well. So I think she needs to make this a rough and dirty fight. If she can't get Jan to the ground early, she's going to have to get those underhooks and kind of clinch and get knees in and kind of dirty box, dirty boxer, and just kind of score that way if she can't get her down early, and then catch with those elbows as she breaks. Next up, I'll say is don't follow. Don't chase her. If you go back to like Irene Aldana versus Holly Holm, don't spend time chasing a faster fighter, with the better footwork. You got to go in there and cut the octagon off. And I think that's something that Claudia is still having trouble with. I think that Angela Hill had better success with her angles and her footwork because she knew Claudia was going to chase her at times. Like, Claudia can still gas her. That's how she's still gassing herself out, because she still hasn't improved on that. So in this fight, don't follow. You got to cut the octagon off, and you got to stalk her. You got to cut that real estate off, and that's the best way you're going to get to take her to the ground. Pace. Again, like I said, if she's not going in there with sometimes Claudia does this. Like, sometimes Claudia doesn't fight with the best IQ. So if she's not going to go in there and try to bag 2 rounds and take it to the ground, and she for some reason wants to strike with Xiaonan, then she's going to have to pace herself. She can't just go out there trying to match her speed for speed and gas herself out these 2 rounds. So she's going to have to pick her shots. And that's what I mean by pace. Pace herself, pick her shots, try to time Xiaonan if that's what you really want to do. So always leave that an option. Like, if you're going to go and, try to strike for strike with Xiaonan, then pace yourself. For Xiaonan, her keys to victory, I feel like punches and bunches. I feel like she's going to have to get a very early start, get some punches off early. Don't look for the KO with somebody like Claudia, because Xiaonan, she doesn't have any stoppages in the UFC. And, that just lets you know that she is kind of a points fighter. She's an accumulation puncher, somebody who can stay up, with her speed and her volume. So I say just go in there and try to outwork and move against a fighter like Claudia. Again, don't look for the KO, because, Claudia is a fighter that she's not easy to stop. She's never been stopped in her MMA career. So just go in there with the intent to get respect off your jab and do damage. You just want to bust somebody up like that. That was how Angela Hill did it. You just want to put hands on a fighter like that and move. Put hands on them and move. If you know you got the superior hand speed, use it. Next up, angles. Again, like I said, Claudia likes to follow, so I really feel like a fighter like Xiaonan can definitely use angles in this one. If you turn her the right way, you can walk her right into right hands, or you can walk her into left hands. I feel like Claudia has improved since the Joanna fight with her striking, but not enough to match somebody like Xiaonan's footwork. So I say, as long as Xiaonan can keep her turning, don't back straight up. If she can turn her right into a good right hand, I think that will definitely favor her. So definitely use angles in this fight. Next up, deep waters. And by deep waters, I'll just go back to what I said earlier. Claudia has stamina and cardio issues. So I feel like Xiaonan definitely want to take her into deep waters. And by that, keep her moving. Just keep her moving like in the first and second round while you're pot-shotting her, making her look for you, making her work harder than she wants to. And then when you get into that second and third round, like I said, she'll be gassing out. So if you get her into that third round, busted up, marked up, with no plan B or no plan C, she's really going to be fit for the taking as far as a decision. And who knows, maybe a stoppage if you can really wear her out. So definitely take her into deep waters. Take her into that last round. Like I said, don't go in with the mind frame giving your all, trying to knock somebody like Claudia out. So you really just got to be on your feet, keep it moving, and make her work. Make her miss and make her pay if she wants to strike with you. All right, so my prediction for this one. I'm going to have to go with Xiaonan by decision. I want to say unanimous decision, but, going by the way the judges are, I'm going to have to say a split decision. Not a controversial decision in favor of Xiaonan. If Claudia wins, it's going to be a controversial decision in her favor. I know how they do. But I'm going to have to go with Xiaonan by a close, competitive decision. I think she's going to get it started early. She's going to use that footwork. And she's going to start pot-shotting early in this fight. She's going to get that striking going in the first round. And she's going to keep it moving. I feel like she's the fighter that wants it more. I think her momentum is higher. Again, I know she doesn't have the best resume compared to Claudia, but it's all in what you do with those opponents too. Okay, we could say Claudia again has a better resume, but how has she looked against those opponents, and what was she able to do against those opponents? So I'm going with Xiaonan in this one. I feel like her momentum is to continue to win, continue this undefeated streak. So I'm going to go with Jan by a close split decision. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Y'all got Claudia or Jan? Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.